India lost one of its biggest icons, an industry legend last night. Ratan Tata, Chairman Emeritus of Tata Sons, who led a modest, unassuming life, was laid to rest with state honours just a short while ago in Mumbai in the presence of his loved ones and every individual whose life was touched by a gentle soul like him. He will be remembered for his contribution to the Indian industry and putting it on a global map. Tata would say that he wanted to be remembered as someone who worked for the best interests of business and was able to make a change so enormous and monumental that will live on in hearts and minds of billions across the world. Those words ring true today as we bid farewell to him. And joining me to pay tribute on this edition of Plain Speak is Naina Lal Kidwai, ex-FICCI president, Shiv Khera, author and academician, with us as well. Ms. Kidwai, let me begin by asking you, it's the vision that Ratan Tata had for not just the Tata Group, but for India, putting India first, putting India on the global map as far as businesses were concerned, as far as seeing India as a business powerhouse is concerned. He pioneered that, isn't it?
Absolutely. We saw through his leadership a number of joint ventures that came into creation with the Tata Group, and they were very much the preferred joint venture partner for a lot of folks that engage with India. We also saw acquisitions by the group offshore, big ones like the Chorus acquisition, which was $11 billion at its time in 2007, which was absolutely huge. The Jaguar Land Rover acquisition in around the same time in 2008. Techly, which had happened earlier in 2000. So across different domains, hotels like Pierre, etc. So every one of the Tata companies seeking to go global through acquisitions as well. And I can only tell you that through a large number of global chairmen, CEOs who I was with, accompanying them into meetings with Mr. Tata, it was always something that had to be there on an itinerary for visitors in India. And he never disappointed. Meetings started on time. Meetings were always engaged. He had questions because of the curiosity he always showed in learning and wanting to understand, but equally sharing his vision and the frankness with which he did that, and the humility. And of course, making sure that he walked each one out to the lift. Just his humility, his particular brand of the way he would handle everyone, and really was a fabulous ambassador for India.
Absolutely. Perhaps the best brand ambassador India could have had as a country. The real Ratna that we lost today in Ratan Tata. And Shiv Khera, it's the man that Ratan Tata is that also is often spoken of. Philanthropy is something that people often advertise, people often speak of. He was sort of the silent force as far as his philanthropic work was concerned. He was also someone who believed in speaking less, doing more, and for his actions to have spoken much, much louder than his words would ever have.
Poonam, all I can say is that there are not enough words to pay a tribute to a person like Ratan Tata. He was truly a Bharat Ratan. I repeat, he was truly a Bharat Ratan, and right from salt to software, he gave everything, and there is no Indian who has not been touched by the Tata Group or Tata companies or by themselves. And the way I have seen closely, they have been my clients. We worked for them with Tata Steels, Tanishq and a few others. Pretty much I have seen that the Tata Group, they have always been driven by one motivation and that is the country. People and the nation and the patriotism came always first, and profitability came after. I mean, when you look at it, the country has really become poorer today. Country has become very poor. There's not enough words. I'm running short of words. But this is one man who has probably given more into charity to benefit the country than the richest man in the country here today. Anyway, he has given more in charity than the richest man in India today. So a people like that whenever we have to buy anything, people ask me, where do I go? I said, if it is a Tata product, if Tata manufactures it, just go straight to Tata. They say, we'll check up the price, make a comparison. I said, don't. Don't. You see, through him, we are serving our country, because 60%, 70% of the Tata's profits go into helping the underprivileged. And his driving force has always been the country and the people, including the nano car. If you remember, what was the driving force behind the nano car? He said, people who are riding on two-wheelers today, when they have an accident, most accidents become fatal. And people are not able to, families with small 2 or 3 kids, they can't go. And he said, I want to make a car where people can upgrade themselves from a two-wheeler into a four-wheeler and make them comfortable, at the same time save their lives. Look at the driving force and motivation behind it. It was not profit. He always understood that profit was a byproduct of service. I repeat, profit was a byproduct of service, ethical service, I repeat. And he gave the nation a very clear message that there is a big difference between making money versus earning money. And making money is criminal, earning money is spiritual. And earning means there was ethics and effort behind it. And the way I see it, we are into getting to Diwali time, and what a loss that the nation has faced today. And if I was the Prime Minister, probably I would have given out to the Tata Group to make 1,000 hotels and 1,000 hospitals in this country, and they would have done a great job. They started Air India, and sadly, it was taken over without paying anything to these people, and then when given back, again the government took money from people like that who are patriots, and sadly, these are people who deserve the Bharat Ratan rather than the ones who got it anyway. I think we need to come back to our basic values. I have seen enough entrepreneurs and billionaires have come and gone, prime ministers and presidents have come and gone. You don't feel that bad. They came and went away, and many people deserve to go away much faster. Maybe it took a long time. But this is one person. I think not only India, but the whole world mourns it.
And that outpouring of grief was evident, because when he was being laid to rest at the Worli crematorium there, once the gates were open for the common public to come and pay their last respects, you saw hundreds of people rushing into that place. Despite all through the day, there was enough time for them to be at the NCPA to pay their respects, and yet we saw the kind of outpouring when the final salute was given to him, when the last goodbye was being bid before he was laid to rest. And Naina Lal Kidwai, as far as the kind of philosophy that all of the Tata...
If I have your permission.
Yes, Mr. Khera.
You see, the very important thing that I liked about Ratan Tata is he was an Indian first and Parsi second. Today, many people become so communal, and that's what they are depicting everywhere. He was an Indian all the way, end to end, a great patriot, and he never put the Parsi part ahead of Indian. He put India first, and everything followed. I don't have any more words to say beyond it.
Naina Lal Kidwai, like I was asking you, you know, that kind of philosophy that he followed through and through all of his ventures, all of the companies that the Tata Group has. And I say this as someone who's been associated with, my father used to work for a Tata Group company, and he always spoke of, you know, the kind of sentiments that followed even through the last person, the last employee. I mean, it's not just someone at the top having said something. That percolated down to the last man in every single company.
You are so right. I think the value systems that each of the companies had was so deeply embedded in employees that they really wore the Tata culture, the Tata value systems very close to their heart. And in fact, there's a Harvard Business School case which talks about the terrorist attacks that happened in Mumbai on the Taj Hotel. And it studies why individuals, very young people, actually came forward well beyond the call of duty to help with people that were trapped in the rooms, and even against the wishes of their parents, going back in to support and help. And really amazing stories of courage that have emerged from there. And the question that that Harvard Business School asks is, what is it about the value system that the groups like Tata, like the Indian hotels, were able to impart, and what is it they do to hire such people that can go beyond the call of duty at the risk to life to serve in the way they did. And I think at the end of the day, it has to be said about something about the way they hire, how they treat people, and the empathy with which that value system is developed, and the culture of the organizations that they run. Philanthropy runs deep. We know that certainly for a lot of people, the fact that you're well regarded by the community, that you contribute to the community, are part of those value systems and culture. And exactly as Mr. Khera has said, it runs very deep in the Tata Group. I would just add that in some of the work that I do in water and sanitation, one of the big projects that the Tata Trust supported was the Swachh Bharat mission. And there was a call for action where Swachh Bharat Preraks, young IIT, IIMs, well-educated individuals, 600 of them, were actually hired and trained. It wasn't just the money, it was the training too. Were trained to go and join collectors down in rural India to help with the Swachh Bharat implementation. And what we saw in the Tata Group was the ability to rise to institutionalize what went on to become one of the biggest and indeed most successful programs of the government, the Swachh Bharat mission. And the speech which Mr. Tata made that day when this particular program was being launched was, I think, one of the most amazing speeches I've ever heard. And because of the way he captured focus on water, sanitation, and nutrition to create the health of a nation. And those messages, I think, still ring true and strong, but indicate that it wasn't just about money, it wasn't just about the programs that they supported, but also the heart and vision with which it was done.
Absolutely, that path has been paved by him. He leaves behind a void, but he also leaves behind inspiration for not just people here in India, but around the world as well, which is why we saw the kind of tributes that came to the fore. I have to leave it at that. I thank you both for joining us here and sharing your tributes for this icon that India has lost today.